So we are back in the Uber 9 in the air world, in the Trove, on the Trove actually. So interesting stuff, Uber 10's actually coming out on the 18th, which isn't exactly new information, but pretty cool actually. I thought that it wasn't going to come out till later next year. Now, unfortunately, that is the case for console. I think they said that it's going to come out early next year. And it's whatever. I don't play console obviously, so it doesn't affect me. But I do know a lot of people who are going to be, I guess, salty about it. When it's okay because console generally gets updates at a later date, and it's not just because PC is just better. It's actually to improve console because I've mentioned this before, but if an update goes on console and that update messes up the console, then that could potentially mess up your console. And obviously, Sony and Microsoft want to prevent that. But on PC, that's not really an issue. I do believe that can actually, it still can happen, I think. It's just a lot more rare than, it happening on console. Did I say that correctly? I think I did. But yeah, the Uber 10 update, or Crystal Combat update, whatever you want to call it, is coming out on the 18th. At least that's what I have heard they said on the live stream they did, which I didn't even know they did one. And it's cool, Uber 10 for me, at least, it's not the best thing. It kind of was really good when they had when it was up on the test server, like day one. It was pretty good. But in my opinion, they kind of dumbed it down, where a lot of this stuff just doesn't seem cool anymore. Because in an earlier build of Uber 10, you could actually farm the 5-star cache and they would give you augments or the Radiant Sovereigns. And it was cool because it essentially meant that you could, you could actually grind empowered gem boxes, or you could grind augments that, grind as in grind the actual item and not just flux to, buy the item and do all that stuff. But they since took those out, and it's kind of unfortunate. But it's like, come on, give us something cool. It's like, this is supposed to be the end game. We want to make me feel rewarded, I guess, for being at the end game. Although, I guess being at the end game isn't the biggest accomplishment, but it's still something. So, that, and the other thing is just that the gardening rework and Bomber Royale Season 2 is not going to come out with this update, which originally it was supposed to come out, so it's kind of, unfortunate that it's not, because that just ultimately means less content for the update. And this is supposed to be one of the major updates, and it's kind of hard for me to see that, see this update as a major update, because sure, it adds crystal gear and Uber 10, but what's it really doing besides adding a biome with some enemies? Some of them are reskins, some of the enemies are brand new, I will acknowledge that, but does it really matter? I mean, they're enemies, they attack you, whatever, right? But, I mean, at that point, I'm pretty sure I'm just being too nitpicky. But if you think about it, it was a lot more of a bigger update when gardening was coming out with it. Because, like I said, more content means bigger update. But unfortunately, that's not the case. We are getting some new dragons and whatnot. But, man, I was kind of more interested in the gardening rework, to be honest, more than the actual update, like the actual Uber 10, because a lot of people just were like, oh, it's gonna be a new biome, just a new difficulty, which when it actually first released on PTS, it was really easy, partly because light didn't work. So if you could handle Uber 10 or Uber 9 no problem, then you could basically handle Uber 10. It was the exact same thing. Some people said it was easier than Uber 9, which, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But it was pretty easy, and you could just blast through it. I couldn't even tell a difficulty difference, to be honest. the main difficulty difference is just the fact that you won't be doing full damage against these guys. I don't even know if you can do full damage against the geode enemies, because you essentially need light. Like, there's a new stat called light that you need to actually damage things, and if you don't have enough, then you can't damage stuff. You know, it's a simple concept. But for U10, you actually need a certain amount of light to enter. Now, I didn't see that on the other portals, but if you go to U10 on PTS, then it says you need like 2,200 light or something to enter, and I assume that's just to do the bare minimum amount of damage, because when I was there, I was barely doing anything, so I don't even know. But yeah, I don't know. Part of the thing for me was just the fact that you could grind augments in Radiant Sovereigns. Now, I could see them increasing the prices of Radiant Sovereigns for, like, you know, empowered gem boxes or golden chests, because it kind of was broken, because I was getting... Well, I mean, it's all luck, because you can well, is it uncommonly? It's like a rare uncommon, if that makes any sense. But it's like, you can uncommonly get 2 of them, which, like I said, it doesn't really appear that much. Out of 30 minutes, I got about, well, I forgot if it was 30 minutes or an hour, but I ended up with like 15 of them or whatever, so you could easily grind a couple golden chaos chests a day, depending on how lucky you were and all that. And it was cool, because then you could, you know, more easily get, you know, chaos cores and all that stuff. But you know, I want to say that it wasn't placeholder and that it was intentional for it to be like that, but the devs were like, you know what, that seems too OP, we're going to change that. Because it's like, if it was placeholder, then why would it be items that were that good? You know, if it was placeholder, make it like, I don't know, just not really good stuff. Because, you know, this stuff always happens when PTS goes up. It's really good, and then the devs always find a way to make it not nearly as good. And it's sad, because, you know, most of these updates, like when PTS goes up for most of these big updates, if the devs actually left the update the way that it was on day 1 for like all these updates, then these updates would be really good, because you would not believe how much the devs toned down these updates and like nerf some of the things. It's really, really disheartening, I guess. Now, when PTS actually opened day 1, I knew that things were going to be really good. I'm like, oh, you know, you're probably going to be able to get something really broken really quickly, and they're going to nerf it. And I guess that broken thing was just augments and Radiant Sovereigns. Now, like I said, they could have increased the prices, not just outright take them out, because they replaced those augments with topside resources, which is like nitro and Viridium or whatever. But they didn't even stop there. They said, I think they had an update where the 5-star cash are actually random now. Like, you're not guaranteed to get 5-star cash or whatever they're called, the lesser geode cash. You're not guaranteed to get them anymore from those things. And it's like, why? You know, why am I not guaranteed to get them? Like, what's the point? So are you telling me that I can just run a 5-star dungeon and just not get anything? Like, what? I feel rewarded. Now, I haven't really tested it, so to be honest, I shouldn't even be saying this, because, you know, I haven't really tested it yet. But it's like, you know, why? Why are these things like this, you know? And, you know, I'm not trying to be like extremely pessimistic about this, but it's like, don't kid yourself. This game is not doing the best, you know? And some of these changes is just like, why? The game's already not doing extremely well. And when people are going to say the update's going to be good because, oh, you know, it's going to be so laggy, there's going to be so many people on, and it's like, that's, oh, excuse me, you know, that's going to be for like 10 minutes, if that, because you know, the servers are going to be better because everyone's going to log off and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna deal with that, and like I'm not gonna deal with that with the shenanigans of the Trove server. They're just gonna log off, and it's gonna be good because you know why? Because people log off, so the server's just better, and you know we live off our lives and death. That's basically the moral of the story is death, because that's how I feel. And it's too bad too because this game is really good. Like just the way that this game looks, the way that this game plays, it's really good. So many times when I played a video game that's so good, and the thing that's keeping it behind, like keeping the game down, is just the decisions on the developers, or you know, just I don't know, just stuff, you know, stuff that's preventing the game. Like in Trove's case is the engine and the code. You know, the engine's really outdated. The code's not the best either. Just stuff like that where the game needs to be. It could have been a lot better than it is. Like imagine if this game had good servers, you know, good engine, and it was owned by like a AAA company like Blizzard or something. Dude, if Blizzard owned this game, then it would be totally different. But, you know, just imagine if a AAA company actually owned a Trove. You know, that would be really interesting, because it just would. Because, you know, Blizzard or another AAA company, they're not nearly as money hungry, I guess I would say, as Tryon Worlds does seem to be. And Tryon did get a lot more, I guess, money hungry towards the end, but that's because they were going out of business. You know, they had to milk the game for what it was worth. So they had to, you know, they had to do all this stuff. And I was wondering why they were doing that, because I'm like, dude, have you noticed that there's more pay to win in this game than there's ever been? And it's like, oh, they're out of business, you know, they went bankrupt or whatever happened to Tryon, and now they're not a thing anymore. And it's like, yep, makes more sense. But yeah, I'm just more salty at the fact that Gardening's not coming out with U10 or like Bomber Season 2. Because I do like Bomber Season 2 or Bomber Royale in general, but no one plays it because every time I went to Bomber Royale, no one's been there. Because everyone has everything, no one sees a point in playing it anymore because whatever, you know. But if there was actually a Season 2, new items, then people would be more, you know, enticed to actually grind it. But that's not the case. And death. Again, more death. So I'm going to kill this guy, and then we are just going to stop the video because this video is long enough. And that was just me, I guess, me doing a little rant, because that's what we need, right? More rant videos on a little voxel game meant for like 2-year-olds or something. So hopefully you liked. If you did like, do whatever you want. Flag the video for all I care. And please do not do that. And I will see you next time. So see you guys later, and goodbye.